All right, Super Mega Baseball 3, everybody. This game comes to us in 2020 from Metalhead Software. It's actually published by EA Sports. It's in the game. You know the guys. You know the EA Sports. EA Sport, well, Electronic Arts published it. And EA Sports is monolithic in the world of sports video games. They make most, but not all, of the world's biggest video games in terms of sports. And I have a soft spot in my heart for sports video games. I always have. And, mostly I've played Madden. I've played the NCAA football until that wasn't a thing anymore. And mostly I played hockey. But I've always enjoyed baseball games. There's always a time of year where, my heart just turns to baseball. I'm from Arizona, so whoever your favorite team is, they probably come here in the spring when, pitchers and catchers report. This is where they report, So, yeah, there's a certain vibe, a certain feeling that you get when it starts to turn into baseball season. And yeah, now I'm living in a city where there are actual stadiums where some of those games get played. And that's fun and awesome. And so, yeah, I've been a fan for a long time. There are people, granted, there are plenty of people who play video games who are like, no, sports video games are terrible. Everybody knows if you are a collector, sports video games do not hold their value. They just don't, because next year's game comes out and then this year's one is worthless, And really the only sports video game that has increased in value, I think it was NCAA 2014 or something like that, which is the last year that they were able to use the likenesses of players without paying them. So yeah, I think that's the only one that has ever increased in value. So yeah, this has been a long time with me and sports video games. Now, there is a style of sports video game that I have always stayed away from, and that is like your NHL hits, your I forget, the NFL Blitz, is that what it was called? Like the ones that are more cartoony and arcade like. I just, I wanted the simulation. I always wanted the simulation when I was playing like NHL 2002. I wanted to pretend that I were, I'd create my player. I'd put myself into the game and I would have Matt Sundin feeding me centering passes in front of the net, because obviously I'm a Maple Leafs fan because I'm from Arizona, and when I was a kid, there was no hockey in Arizona. And the Coyotes have always been 1 foot out the door, as they are currently, so who knows? Yeah, so hard times for hockey fans in Arizona. That's just been true for a long time. Anyway, back to the baseball. I know this is a very roundabout way of getting at it, and my reviews do have a tendency to be very rambly, but you're watching a review of a baseball game, so buckle up, because we all know baseball announcers, when they're announcing a game, they're always like, well, now I have a chance to tell you a story about this player's great grandfather, and they always have these super in-depth stories and whatnot because the pace of the game is so slow and whatnot. Anyway, what I was saying is that there were this entire genre of games, you know, the backyard series, the backyard football, backyard baseball, all of those games. Like I said, the NHL Blitz, the NFL Blitz, the NHL Hits, you know, Mutant League, never cared for that kind of stuff. Just really, I've always preferred the straightforward simulation. Give me the straightforward simulation so that I can pretend to be a part of the game. And then I saw people raving about this game. And I have to be honest, I do own a couple of the MLB The Show. I own some of like the bigs when that was a thing. I've owned many baseball video games over the years, and a lot of them were just really disappointing. And that's why I go back and I play things like Baseball Simulator 1.000 on the NES, which is actually a little more arcadey than a lot of things, but whatever. I do enjoy going back and playing the older games because, like, I just didn't have something that scratched the itch that I was looking for. And then people were raving about this game. And then I saw the price tag and I was like, oh boy, I'm not paying, because I just don't pay full price for sports games. I always buy last year's game this year, or 2 years ago's game this year, and get it for extremely cheap. Because, you know, my theory is always, well, if it was good then, it's good now. So, yes, Super Mega Baseball 4 is out. I don't know if 5 is out yet. I know 4 is out for sure. So I bought Super Mega Baseball 3. Normally, it's $45, and I did not pay that much for it. It has been on sale at 90% off for $4.49, which is a really decent price for this game. And I will say that despite all of my hesitation about, like, I'm going to be playing with these cartoony players that are not realistic and whatnot, people have all stressed the gameplay is really good, and indeed it is. Now, you will see in the gameplay here that I am stomping all over the opposing team. That is due to the fact that I had my difficulty settings set really low at first because I was losing badly. Because here's the thing about the difficulty settings in this game. It's really interesting how it works. The higher the difficulty setting, the less the player, like, the less the players that you are controlling will attempt to automatically break toward the ball when they are fielding, the less that they will, you know, automatically take a step away from the bag when running, you know, all of, or you know, break back to the bag when you know, it's a pop fly and they need to tag up or something like that. You know, the less they will do things automatically. And I think at the higher levels they'll actually resist a little bit, adding to the difficulty. So you have to be very intentional at the higher levels of difficulty about how you are moving the players and what you are doing with them. And of course, you know, like with how micromanagey you can get with modern sports games, I find myself very often frustrated by them, even the simulator ones, because they keep adding. They're like, oh yeah, you know, people want to be able to, you know, do this, that, or the other that you can do in the actual sport, but you haven't been able to do in the game yet. And so they keep adding these extra features, which then turn into you using every single button on the controller, and in some cases like multi-button combinations for things, and it just gets very, very complicated. And that's why there are people who play Madden professionally, and they are better than all of us at Madden, and they've just made Madden infinitely more complicated over the years. I'm not going to say that Super Mega Baseball 3 is not complicated, because it can be. It can be as complicated as you want it to be. And when I first started playing this game, I was doing so poorly, and I was a little bit frustrated. And then I looked into it. I was like, okay, what do you do if you're just getting smoked? And they're like, just adjust the difficulty setting. And I was like, okay, I'll adjust the difficulty setting. And I turned it back a couple of notches, and I didn't notice a big difference. And I did a couple more and a couple more and a couple more. And so by the time I got to the setting that I was using for this gameplay footage, it was set at extremely easy, which the first game that I played on this setting, I won by like a run or two, and I was like, oh, so this is my setting. Like, this is where I need to be playing. And it turned out that, yeah, when I actually recorded the gameplay footage, I won the game in a big way. So, yeah, I've obviously got a need to bump it up some more, but that's the beauty of it. You can actually bump that difficulty setting in the middle of a game. And there are so many aspects of the game that you can control. Yes, there is no player creation in this game. And yes, also, these are not officially licensed teams. You know, the Sawteeth or the Sawtooths. I think they're the Sawtooths. That's the team that I'm playing. And, you know, the shark logo. Yeah, not a real Major League Baseball team. And I have both Junior Young Junior and Junior Young Senior on the team, which I think is a shout out to back in the day when Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. both played for the Mariners. I think that's what it's a reference to, which I think is kind of fun. So yeah, there are some actual Major League references. It's also weird that they include female players, because obviously there are no female players in Major League Baseball, but it's very inclusive of them, because they're saying like, hey, this is not just a game for male fans to play out their male fantasies, because there are plenty of female Major League Baseball fans, and they deserve to be represented in the game too, and I think it's cool that they did that. That said, all of the players are very cartoonish in their features, and all of the women are kind of Pixar dump trucky, if we can say that out loud. I don't know if we're allowed to say that out loud. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's very arcadey in its feel, but it's very simulatory in its construction, which is an interesting combination. You know, for instance, I always use the power hit, where you have to sort of start charging it before the pitch gets there, which is why I'm swinging at everything, like absolutely everything. Very rarely am I laying off pitches in the gameplay footage that you're seeing, but I'm swinging at everything. I'm just, you know, taking it all. And but yeah, like the power hit, like you have to charge it. So you kind of have to, if you want to get a good swing on it, you kind of have to charge it before the pitch even breaks in. And so you don't know where the pitch is going to come. And so, you know, it's kind of a mystery. You know, just like any other baseball game, you kind of guess where you think the pitch is going to be. And that helps or hurts your ability to make contact and to send the ball where you want it to go. But it also, you know, this game is more forgiving in terms of fouling things off. And it's one of the best games in terms of pitching. You know, you have good pitch selection. And I love the fact that, like, You know, you set where you want your pitch to go, and then the pitcher goes to throw it, and then you try and control their pitch control as the pitch is coming in. You're not actually controlling, well, I guess you are controlling the ball, but you're more accurately controlling the pitcher's control of their own pitches. So, you know, you can tell it, like, I want to hit this fastball in the corner, and then you might not be able to paint that corner because you couldn't control the pitch coming in. They might still swing and miss at it. You might still get a strike on something that you did not control very well, but be that as it may, like, you need to try and control your pitches. But that pitching mechanic is so much more satisfying than most pitching mechanics that I have ever used in any baseball game. When it comes to the fielding, it's all standard stuff. You know, your A, B, X, Y buttons relate to first base, second base, third base, and home. Very easy to figure out how to throw it. And there's also a power meter. So if you hold it for a second, meaning you hold the ball for a second, your player is going to throw it harder. And so you have to strategize. Do I need to really rip this thing to home plate, or can I just lob it in there and still make it in time to get the out? So there is a decent amount of strategy, and it really is very, very fun to play, regardless of how you like your baseball. If you like it more arcadey, there's plenty of arcade in this game. If you like it more simulatory, it is very, like, there's a lot of simulation stuff under the hood that you can really, like, dive in and get into the, you know, nitty gritty mechanics of, you know, how you're managing every little aspect of the game, because you can do all the things. You know, I didn't have very many pitch outs, for example. You know, didn't spend a lot of time, you know, trying to pick off runners, but you absolutely can. So, like the EA thing is, if it's in the game, it's in the game. You know, like that's where the whole EA Sports "it's in the game" came from. Anyway, I see I've blathered on for a good long time. I don't feel I've said enough about this game, but that's fairly standard. I don't write scripts for these reviews. I just kind of say what I feel in the moment. So yeah, this game is fun. I like this game. Although I would not buy it at full value. Absolutely not. You are out your dang mind. But buying it on sale, on extreme discount, when you can pick it up for under $5, yes, absolutely. Anyway, let me put a final score on it, and then we will wrap it up. All right, final score-wise for Super Mega Baseball 3, we are going to go an 8 out of a possible 10 rabbit umpires from Bad News Baseball, which is another fun baseball game for the NES. I believe I've reviewed it on this channel. So, yeah, there you go. Rabbits for umpires. What next? Mario being the, you know, referee in a boxing match? Likely story. Anyway, well, folks, that's going to do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.